Alderman Green,
Here.
Alderman Taylor,
Here.
Alderman McAnally,
Present.
Mayor Branch,
Here.
Alderman McDade,
Here.
Alderman Richards.
Present.
You have a quorum.
Next, we're going to move on to agenda item number 5, public comments. Public comments is public comments with the Open Meetings Act and the Texas Government Code 551.007. City Council may not discuss or take action on any item not listed on the agenda. Each member of the public wishing to speak must sign in prior to the meeting and is limited to 3 minutes. Want to read the other part? Read the other part? Okay. First we have, I believe it's Miss Stephanie Green.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I pretty much wrote what I wanted to say is simply congratulations to each of our newly elected officials. I'll simply say it's not by might, it's not by power, but by my spirit, says the Lord. And we are praying for you. The citizens have done the work, but we're asking for the citizens and the community and for us to come together and to continue to lift our entire city council and mayor in prayer so that we can move this city forward in a positive light. Congratulations.
Thank you, Ms. Green. And next we have Ms. Wright. Where?
I just want to say congratulations.
Stand up, please, and give us your name.
I just want to say congratulations.
Okay. Okay. Now we'll move on to agenda item number 6, new business. Letter A, swearing in of the new council alderman for position 3, 4, and 5.
Ms. McDade, do you want to come down first? We'll do you first. Do it in order. In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas,
In the name and authority by the state of Texas,
I, Eileen McDade,
I, Eileen McDade,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office
that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office
of City of Brookshire Alderman number 3
of City of Brookshire, Alderman number 3
of the state of Texas,
of the state of Texas,
and will to the best of my ability
and will to the best of my ability
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and of this state.
and of this state.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Sorry. Thank you.
Richards. In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas,
In the name by the authority of the state of Texas,
I, Robert Richards,
I, Robert Richards,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office
that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office
of City of Brookshire Alderman number 4
of the city of Brookshire, Alderman number 4
of the state of Texas,
of the state of Texas,
and will to the best of my ability
will to the best of my ability
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and of this state.
and of this state.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas,
In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas,
I, Eric Green, do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will faithfully execute the duties of the
that
office
I will faithfully execute the duties of the office
of City of Brookshire Alderman Number 5
of the City of Brookshire, Alderman number 5
of the state of Texas,
of the state of Texas,
and will to the best of my ability
and will to the best of my ability
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United
of
States
the United States
and of this state.
and of this state.
So help me God.
So help me God.
No, did she turn it off or?
Just leave it on for the police department.
Yeah, you might as well leave it on. Okay, we have, letter B under 6, swearing in of Brookshire Police Officer Ricky Field by Chief Hines. And might as well name them all. You want me to name them all or just
We're
wait,
just swearing in.
one at a
Officer
time?
Fields,
Okay.
and we're gonna recognize their promotions.
Oh, okay.
Raise your right hand.
Chief, sorry, could you use the mic? Sorry. Yeah, thank you, sorry about that.
In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas, I state your name,
Ricky Field,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will faithfully execute the duties
that I will faithfully execute the duties
of the office of police officer for the city of Brookshire,
of the office of police officer for the city of Brookshire,
of the state of Texas,
of the state of Texas,
and will to the best of my ability
and will to the best of my ability
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and of this state,
and of this state.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Wait, you're not done. You're not done.
Okay, next is letter C, recognitions of promotions for Matthew Drake, Sergeant, and Marvin Foley, Sergeant.
Do you need to say anything, Jim? I just have a few words. I did provide a memo to council. You should have it in your packet. I just want to read these quickly and then just add a couple of comments. Won't take long. But these gentlemen right here, this is a former Detective Drake. He's now a sergeant, and former Officer Foley, who's now also a sergeant, and we just want to recognize them for their new promotions into the position of sergeant. The first memo reads, based on the operational necessity to have an effective first-line supervisor manage police personnel and further enhance accountability, I will be promoting City of Brookshire Police Department Detective Matthew Drake from the rank of detective to the rank of police sergeant. Detective Drake has been serving the law enforcement profession for the past 13 years and has demonstrated the willingness to learn, the ability to lead, and the capacity to coach and mentor. Detective Drake will assume the responsibilities of police sergeant on Monday, May the 13th, 2024, and will be assigned to day shift overseeing the functions of patrol officers and detectives. Officer Foley. On Monday, May 13th, 2024, I will be promoting City of Brookshire Police Department Officer Marvin Foley from the rank of officer to the rank of police sergeant. Officer Foley started his career at the Brookshire Police Department almost 4 years ago and continues to serve with pride and professionalism. Officer Foley has shown enthusiasm to take on new responsibilities and establish the ability to teach and lead others. Promoting Officer Foley to the rank of sergeant will enhance our corps of first-line supervisors and improve supervisory capabilities within the police department. Officer Foley will assume the responsibilities of police sergeant and will be assigned to night shift overseeing the functions of patrol officers. What got these guys here is a positive attitude, the initiative to learn and to lead, and demonstrating their abilities to contribute to our team's achievements and our successes, moving your department, our department, in the right direction. Congratulations, gentlemen.
Okay, we'll move on to letter D, discussion and take action to appoint the mayor pro tem for the term of 1 year.
Mayor, I'd like to nominate one of the longest-standing continuous members of this council, and I think a person that has the tenure and the ability to keep us on track, and that's Monique Taylor for the position of mayor pro tem.
Okay? Yes. Just turn it to you. There you go.
Mayor, I'd like to nominate Mr. Robert Richards.
Second.
Taylor?
Mayor and council, now that you all have your first and second, you can discuss, or Mayor, you can call for a vote if discussion is over.
Any further
Well, the
discussion?
first motion failed.
So this
There's
is
no,
the,
sorry, so it's Councilmember McDade's motion, second by Councilmember Taylor, so that's the,
Open.
Councilmember
have to
Richards
call for the
is
vote.
the current motion for you all to discuss.
Because there's no second from Ms. Taylor. You don't want to take that position? Okay.
Discussion?
Second.
You second?
there's
Yeah,
already a
second.
second, there's
It's
already
already
Okay,
seconded.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Mayor, if there's no discussion, you can call for a vote.
A vote, please.
Aye.
Ms.
4.
Green, 4. Ms. Taylor?
4.
Mr. McAnally?
Against.
Yes. Ms. McDade?
4.
And Mr. Richards? Okay, by the vote, Mr. Richards is the mayor pro tem. Okay, letter E, discussion and take action to appoint the mayor pro tem as a signer on checks. Are we voting for that too, or how are we doing that one?
Yeah, so Erica, do you need, is there gonna be a form you have to fill out and sign with the
There
bank?
will be a school from the bank, yes.
So my recommendation would be to make a motion to authorize the city secretary to add the mayor pro tem as a co-signer on the necessary documents.
I make a motion to add the mayor pro tem as a secondary signature for checks.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All, okay. And then letter F, discussion and take actions to approve resolution approving the final plat for 3511 Stella Road.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Congratulations to the new council. My name is Craig Calcamy. I am an engineer with LJA Engineering. LJA currently serves as your city engineer and floodplain administrator. Currently, I fulfill that kind of primary role at LJA for y'all. And just before we talk about the plat, just for anybody who's not aware, city engineer, basically we act as a representative only when directed to by the city. Our contract, basically, we do what the city's asked us to do, and we don't really do work just for the fun of it. We direct, we recommend, and we advise when asked. So future meetings, you may or may not see me. We don't typically come to meetings unless there's something on the agenda that you need us to, or you request us to attend. For us, that's kind of a cost-saving measure for the city, because obviously it's an hourly contract, so we bill the city for the time that we're here. I will give you this one that tonight I am not billing the city for this, because it's kind of, I would like to congratulate y'all, and that's mainly my drive to be here, is to do that. And so city engineer, the two biggest things from an engineering perspective that the city has to deal with is, streets and drainage. And personally, that's my biggest experience for the last 18 years has been street and drainage. But also I have extensive water, sewer, plant, all that kind of things. You've got the municipal water district, so we don't have to dive into those things as much here at the city. But we can if there's ever an issue that arises and we need to get involved. But the water district appears to be doing their thing, so we respect them and their mission and so on our side. We also act as liaison between you and the Brookshire Katy Drainage District, because there is that kind of overlap. Brookshire Katy handles kind of the major drainage features, the drainage ditches and things that surround the city, and then we help Public Works and the city with kind of the localized drainage, roadside ditches, storm sewers, those things. So tonight, as your engineer, we are here to discuss a subdivision plat for a parcel along Stella Road. With plats, there is a state-required timetable that plats have to be acted on. So this is probably not necessarily the best meeting to have when you get reelected. Here you go, approve a plat that you are fresh out of, but per the state guidelines, we have to take action on the plat after before so many days. It's typically 30 days. But this particular plat on Stella Road has been out in the city since about 2021. The preliminary plat was approved in 2022, and the final plat was submitted last year. The city had some comments. And so over the last, with the resubmittal of the plat about a month ago, we've been trying to dig into kind of the history of the plat and different councils over that time, but also different staff that has reviewed it for the city. So we've tried to consolidate as much of those comments as we can. This particular plat, it is a 24 residential townhome development. They are two-story independent, I say independent townhomes. They are townhomes that share a common wall, but they are independent units, 24 townhomes. The plat, from what we can gather, and I will admit there may be missing pieces. I've had a conversation with Alderman McNally about some of the history. There are some comments on the plans that we are going to need to continue to work on based on the conversation and then comments. but generally the plat, from what we can tell, unless somebody can produce something otherwise, generally the plat appears to be in accordance with what council had directed them to modify last year when the plat became council, at least from what we can gather. By approving this plat, you're not necessarily approving the plans, you're not approving the permit. That'll be taken care of at a later date. Like I said, we've got some comments. Just kind of give you some background on some of the comments is in your ordinance, there's a required amount of green space that has to be set aside. It appears based on the plans, they are giving that requirement, but we are going to double check it. There's some concerns with the fire protection or the fire lane that comes into the development. Let me step back a little bit. In a permit review, there's two sides of the city that reviews each permits. LJA, as your engineer and kind of planner, city planner, we review pretty much everything external to the building. Bureau Veritas is an organization that of building officials then that review everything internal, but also they act as the city fire marshal. So like in the case of the fire lane and the fire protection, even though that's external to the building, your fire marshal through Bureau Veritas actually reviews that. Now, based on our comments, I've got some questions on the fire lane. It is wide enough, but there's not a turnaround. So we're going to need to work with Bureau Veritas because there are some unique things. Detention was previously approved by Brookshire Katy. That aspect is technically expired, so Brookshire Katy is going to have to reapprove that drainage, the drainage. So there are a lot of steps that still need to happen before we get to the plan approval and permit stage. But at least today, a snapshot in time with what we've been given. Generally, we think the plat falls in line with the ordinance and what the city has kind of worked with the landowner to adjust as needed. So that's the current recommendation. And but again, if anybody can provide any insight, we can definitely step away from that recommendation and go back. But we do need some form of action this evening on the plat. And with that, I'll take some questions.
I have a question.
Okay.
How many acres is 2 point?
The total acreage of the tract is 2.225, or no, sorry, 1.225. So 1 1/4, basically, almost.
Also, are these townhouses going to be for rent or for sale?
Be for rent.
For rent. How many parking spaces will be?
That is, so, yeah, I should have mentioned that. So based on the city ordinance, they need 2 parking spots per unit. And so currently in the current plan, they do not have, they're short by, I think, 6, if I remember correctly. So that's one of the comments we're going to go back and tell the landowner to revise.
So 6 units only have 1 parking spot?
No, so each unit gets 2 spots, basically needs a minimum of 2 spaces. So for 24 units, you know, that's 48 lots, and I think they have 42 or 43. I forget now when I counted them. I think 42. So they're short about 6
So if
parking
there's
spots.
2 people living in a townhouse, there's not a parking spot for guests.
If they've got 2 cars, you're correct.
Also, you had mentioned that this plat was being on hold since 2021. Okay, and as I read your document, it said that you have reviewed the ordinances and the guidelines to the best of your knowledge from 2020 to 2021.
Mhm.
But have those ordinances changed? This is 2024 now.
There have been changes, and so we have reviewed it to the current ordinances. One of the biggest differences on this plat that doesn't quite fit the current ordinance is on the side lot, basically the side boundaries of the lot line. It's 7.5 feet. The current ordinance for multifamily would be 20. What we've been able to gather, talking to the surveyor that put the plat together and looking back at some of the records that we have access to, it appears the city at some point did back down a little bit on that building line. We just don't have the documentation that basically shows that council, granted that as a variance. Where the 7.5 is not necessarily, even though it sounds like a random number, the 7.5 is not necessarily a random number. In a traditional residential subdivision, the building setback is 15 feet, but it's shared between a common lot line. So if you've got 2 normal single-family residential homes next to each other, one side will be 7.5, the other side will be 7.5. So it's not really a made-up number, but Based on the current ordinance of 2022, it would be 20 feet for a townhome, multifamily type property. If this was a residential property that didn't have a shared lot line, so if it was a single lot that was platted, it would be 15 feet all on that one side. So that's really the only discrepancy in the current ordinance based on the plat. Now, the plans are a little bit different story, but the plat, yeah.
My last question, what will you do for flooding? You have retention ponds? I think
Yes, so this particular track is also in the floodplain, so that's fun for the current landowner. So they have detention that meets the city's criteria, but meets the Brookshire County Drainage District criteria, but also they provided floodplain fill mitigation because the townhomes will be elevated above the base flood elevation, so they're providing sufficient volume for detention and floodplain.
you have retention ponds.
Yes, sir.
I have a question for
Yes, sir.
Chief Hines.
Yep.
Chief Hines, have you had a chance to see this? Because my concern is emergency response. And I have seen where there's not it wouldn't be wide enough for a fire truck. It wouldn't be wide enough for multiple police cars to get up in there. And quite frankly, this is too small for me to read. And I can't see the
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can definitely get you some larger prints. Yeah.
And I also have concerns about the variance, which, judging from what you said, he will be coming back asking for a variance.
Yes.
Were you able to do the calculations for the trash area and whether there's enough space there?
So based on the ordinance, the only thing that we can find on the trash is that they are providing 2 trash bins. We're trying to still document what the requirement is for the actual size. So we're digging through the International Building Code to see what, it's not in a current city ordinance. It just says they need to have trash bins that are screened, but there's got to be a calculation somewhere that for these 24 units, they need so many cubic yards of storage. We just haven't found that yet. So for the plans, that'll be something that we dig into, and we'll provide that comment for sure. I haven't had a chance to run the calculation yet because we're still digging through the building code on that.
My concern with this plat is that they need to widen the egress for emergency services. They need a turnaround. They need 6 more parking spaces. They don't have enough space for, in my opinion, for the garbage, the screen garbage that's going to be required. That's a lot to try to squeeze into this little plat that they presented to us when they put the plans together.
Just for the record, also mention this, it was 30 townhomes at one point, so it's now 24, which is better, but there's still these kind of lingering things that we've got to work out.
So I just want to add one comment. All of your concerns have been our concerns internally. Historically, I think part of the problem where some of these concerns started was that when this particular developer came in 2021 and we had a different engineering firm at that time, that engineering firm sat on the side of, if there's a variance, I'm going to offer it to you. And that historically is not where we feel comfortable as a city, because we have ordinances for a reason. We have setbacks for a reason. We have dedicated ambulatory space for a reason. And when they came, those were all things that we knew were against the ordinance that we had, and those were questions that were brought up. However, the engineer at the time offered them the opportunity to file for a variance. So staff, obviously that's a concern that we have, and like Mr. Calcamy said, there is a time frame that is associated with this plat. So I mean, this is the time to kind of ask questions like y'all are. These are our concerns, like in relation to this, and then this relationship has been going on for several years for a reason. And it was kind of neglected. They didn't get the answers that they liked. So they kind of set it aside, and then now they've come back. So this is the opportunity, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, to make those asks if we want to see things change.
So the just one interpretation based on the comments, one potential action, or maybe even recommended action, I'll use that word, is the fact that this plat does not meet the ordinance of the setback. From a platting standpoint, that's all we really have to go off on the plat, because the other comments are more plan related. Now they're tied together because they have to submit the plans to get the plat approved. But tonight, the action, if you so choose, basically would be deny the plat due to not providing the proper setback that's currently stated in the ordinance, which is 20 feet, not 7.5 feet. But then also express those concerns with egress, express those concerns with the access and all that. And then we will summarize that and we will send that to the owner or their rep, actually.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Why isn't the developer here?
I can't answer. I don't. He knew that it was on the next agenda, so I don't know why they're not here.
Okay.
He also didn't show up the last time this plot was before us, when he had 30, and we had to send it back last time as well. He also wasn't here to answer questions, so.
When I talked with the surveyor, they didn't even know this was continuing on. So I mean, there's, it's been lingering, and there's probably some reasons, way back in the past, a couple of years ago that may have been some of the city, but a lot of what we've gathered is, it's definitely not all the city.
Yeah.
So, say it that way.
My feeling is that it's an improvement, but it's not where it needs to be at yet, and we probably should not approve it. So that, if Mr. Mayor, when you're ready for a motion, that would be the motion that I would make.
Okay, so by the statute, we can either approve with conditions, or deny it. Craig, so I'm gonna go off a little bit of what you said.
Yeah.
Deny with sending them our reasoning. The statute under the statute, I think what we do is approve with conditions, and we would have those all labeled out among the different recommendations. I also want you to explain a little bit more on what's really in front of us today. Really, what are we approving with the plat versus the plan? We're not approving plans.
But I've approved things. Yeah.
So make sure it's.
Yeah. So.
Wait, hold up.
Yeah.
Let me say this. I understand what you're saying, but Councilman McAnally stated that the developer didn't show to the last meeting, and I would really like to hear from him before I vote to approve this plat.
It's understandable.
So I would recommend that we table it, let him come back, and let's discuss our concerns with him.
We're under a gun to make a decision one way or the other. I don't think we have time to table this by statute.
But it seems like we're getting back into a corner, and there may be other concerns that like I said, when I mentioned Chief Hines, they haven't got one. Chief Hines, he hadn't seen the plat, and in the past, that was one of the things that we ran by with our emergency services, just to make sure that it's safe for emergency services. So if that would be part of the recommendation.
So that would be part of the plan approval and the permit versus the plat. Kind of the plat is, to take an action for, against, or approved with conditions. Those have to be plat ordinance specific. So like building setbacks, that's a part of the plat. In this case, we don't have easements, or we do have easements. They're dedicating some additional right-of-way for Stella Road. So for the plat, as far as an action or an inaction.
It sounds like he's going to redo the plat anyway.
He's going to have to make tweaks to the plat based on the feedback I'm getting. So, and that's fine. So.
Does that grace period start all over again after he would go back and redo the
No,
plat?
he won't have to start over again, but basically what that would do
we're asking to approve a plat that's going to be changed.
You either approve the plat subject to them making certain revisions. So in this case, the building line would be the only revision in the plat that we could tie to the plat.
I have a question.
Now the plans, again, whole nother.
Is there an opportunity to reduce the number of units to give you enough space, parking space, enough space?
So that is really the only option to get the number of required parking spaces, and also if the trash collection and the fire line, the turnaround. So yes, there is probably a chance that when they come back with their plans, instead of 24 units, it's going to be 24 minus something.
So we could approve with conditions, and also that we would like to see the developer here too.
I think you can make that part of the condition?
Yes.
Okay.
So tonight,
It's more of a legal question.
the legal lines of the property be adjusted. And if that gets adjusted, just the plat, the lines on the paper get approved, not the use, not the number of parking spaces, not the number of units. That's not before you tonight. Just the lines on the sheet of paper.
Yeah.
The use is not in front of you tonight. But yes, you could absolutely say, we need a developer here, we want your plans.
So
you're gonna
what's,
need to come down.
what's the legal ramifications of not approving it?
If we don't approve tonight, if we don't approve with conditions or disapprove, I'll have to get with Craig on the date of submission. If we do not do one of those three actions within 30 days, it's automatically approved.
So,
Yeah, the legislature really,
yeah.
the developer's got some good lobbyists.
So it appears, I'm sorry, I'm just quickly looking because I didn't write the date down. It appears the date that we could probably officially say it was a complete submittal would be around May 8th or 9th. I have to actually read the emails. So we're not quite at that 30 days, so I guess technically as long as you're willing to have a special meeting potentially in the next 2 weeks.
Are we going on June 6th?
June 4th.
Oh, June 4th? So yes, we could table this to June 4th.
Okay.
And still be within that 30 days.
I'm fine
So,
with that.
but what I would like is that if we could, well, that's taking action. So yeah, I'd say let's table. However, I received y'all's feedback of y'all's concerns, and we will pass that along to the developer, and we will ask the developer at the best of their ability to come prepared for the June 4th meeting.
Okay.
Is that reasonable?
Yes, sir.
Sounds like a fair plan. Okay, no problem. All right. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
We still need to make a motion.
Oh, yes, so you'll need an official motion and second and vote on the tabling.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we table approving the resolution to approve the final plat for 3511 Stella Road.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And next item is adjournment.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.